Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is Thursday, and I just had a friend, Caroline, send me something. Meghan Markle does not consider what her verbal rants create fallout worldwide, even in Australia. And I'd like for you to watch Sky News Australia video in just a moment. And this is Jacinta Price. And she said, it is ridiculous to think that you would defund the police when the most vulnerable members of society, and we'll go on to that in just a moment. Full disclaimer can be found down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Caroline, for sending me this video. And now let's go ahead and move forward. This is the YouTube video that Sky News Australia. And I don't think that when Meghan is speaking, and people think that her little rants are, as in her own words, are not controversial, and that it's just us that are making it so, and we just don't understand or interpret correctly what she's trying to say. Well, I believe this lady does, and let's see exactly how it affects her. So it says, Jacinta Price is confronting reality while Meghan Markle just mouths rhetoric. This was published on July 20th with Sky News host Alan Jones, and says Australians are constantly told to listen to Aboriginal people on the ground, but nobody seems to listen to Jacinta Price, who knows the way forward for disadvantaged Indigenous Australians. Mr. Jones pointed to Meghan Markle, who he said wants to break away from the royal family, but keep the moniker Duchess of Sussex, and recently made vacuous comments about racism. Alice Springs councillor Jacinta Price hit back at Miss Markle and described her as a woman of great privilege who is completely removed from reality and circumstances on the ground. When she brings these matters up, then she is called a race traitor, Mr. Jones said. We are constantly told to listen to the Aboriginal people on the ground, but no one seems to listen to Jacinta Price. She knows the way forward for the disadvantaged Indigenous Australians. It does not involve moaning about the past, but rather being led by people like Jacinta Price into what could be, for all Aboriginal Australians, a rewarding future. Jacinta Price was confronting reality while Meghan Markle was, not surprisingly, mouthing rhetoric. So let's watch this video, and we won't watch the entire video, but just the part that's referring to this. And I'd like for you to see how Meghan Markle is affecting other parts of the world.
Markle, who apparently wants to break from the royal family, but she still wants to be the Duchess of Sussex. She made some vacuous comments about racism. She made a video with her husband saying it was time people became uncomfortable in fighting racism. You think she meant comfortable? I think she got that all wrong. Well, enter the remarkable Indigenous Australian Jacinta Price. She stood for the Liberal Party at the last federal election for the Northern Territory seat of Lingiari, named after the prominent Aboriginal rights activist Vincent Lingiari. Jacinta Price is an outstanding Indigenous figure. She should be in the National Parliament. Her mother was a former Northern Territory government minister, Bess Price. Well, she criticised Meghan Markle as, quote, a woman of great privilege who's completely removed from reality and circumstances on the ground. She said, her lending her voice to the Black Lives Matter movement is silencing the voices of those people in the community who are vulnerable to black-on-black gang violence. Now, as you know, in New York, the police are being blamed for black deaths, even though in America, 89.5% of all Afro-American homicides are caused by Afro-Americans. But the police budget in New York has been cut by $1 billion. Shootings have doubled. Most of the victims are black. Jacinta Price said it is ridiculous to think that you would defund the police when the most vulnerable members of society are the African-American people. Who's going to help them, if not the police? Jacinta Price is the Director of Indigenous Studies at the Centre for Independent Studies, and she said similar calls in Australia were, quote, destroying our relationship with authority. It's Aboriginal women and children who are suffering the most because of sexual abuse and family violence. She said, there's no interest in learning the truth. Aboriginal people are dying at a far greater rate at the hands of other Aboriginal people. She said that is something this movement is not interested in. Well, she's right. But as she said, when she brings these matters up, she's called a race traitor. Jacinta has said that, quote, some segments of the Aboriginal community spend too much energy on being perpetually aggrieved and not enough on attending to the real issues that the community faces. She has submitted to the federal government demoralising statistics about the communities of Kununurra, Wyndham and Ceduna in WA. She went to Canberra with a video revealing the appalling violence in Indigenous communities. No one much bothered. She highlighted that in one of the communities, 187 children were victims of sexual abuse. 36 men faced 300 charges and a further 124 were suspects. We're constantly told to listen to Aboriginal people on the ground. No one seems to listen to Jacinta Price. She's copped obscene abuse. One Indigenous Australian from the Compensation Cultural Heritage Council told her publicly, quote, how about you effing die a painful death, you sell-out coconut? You need to be eradicated like the disease you are. No censure for making those comments. Others have told her to F off and die. And others said she needed a spearing and a shooting. She was elected in 2015 to the Alice Springs Town Council, but she was told, quote, if I see you anywhere around Alice Springs, I'm going to punch the F out of you, you see. How many Aboriginal people and other Australians are silenced because of the fear of this kind of treatment? We used to have a racial discrimination commissioner, Tim Soot Pomasan, who'd find offence even when none existed. He had nothing to say about the ugly racial abuse from the left directed towards Jacinta Price. No wonder she's indignant about the vacuous offerings of Meghan Markle. Jacinta Price clearly understands the benefits that were brought to us as a result of a distinguished British explorer and navigator, Captain Cook, claiming the great southern land for Great Britain on the 22nd of August 1770. She knows the way forward for disadvantaged Indigenous Australians. It doesn't involve moaning about the past, but rather being led by people like Jacinta Price into what could be, for all Aboriginal Australians, a rewarding future. While Meghan Markle was speaking from her $11 million Californian mansion, Jacinta Price was consoling an Indigenous relative who'd been bashed into a coma by her Indigenous partner. Jacinta Price was confronting reality, Meghan Markle, not surprisingly, mouthing rhetoric. Well, Mark Latham joins me on Mark Latham Day every Monday. Good to talk to you.
Wow, guys, what do you think about that? Meghan thinks that she's not controversial. She's told us that we're just not interpreting what she's saying correctly. But here it clearly shows that by backing Black Lives Matter that and promoting it, that these people, these Aboriginals, are wanting to go after and fight and commit violence. And she is actually trying to get things done and make a difference and better their lives. Meghan doesn't do anything to better anyone's life. Meghan just goes out and spouts her rhetoric and then walks away and goes on to the next platform and looks to get paid wherever she can. Guys, she is dangerous, and she is getting involved in things that she clearly is either seems to not know what it's about, or maybe she knows exactly what it's about, and she's trying to promote this unrest and this far left type of wokeness. But guys, Australia, look at what she's done. She needs to stay out of countries' politics, out of telling people what they need to do. She needs to quit invoking violence in people and getting behind these different movements that are clearly Marxist movements. So I just wanted you guys to see this and tell me what you think. I'm interested in hearing your comments, and thank you again for watching. And Caroline, thank you again so much for sending this to me. Thank you guys for bearing with me on this. We've got to keep shining a light on the destruction that Meghan Markle is leaving in her wake around the world.